Morning student, this is the lecture of object oriented programming using C++. In the last session we have started our second chapter, that is classes and objects. In the previous session we have seen the static data member, the static member function, and what is friend function. Now we will start the next subpoint, that is array of objects and object as function argument. Before that we will revise the what is static member. So when we declare any variable by using the static keyword, then it is known as a static data member of the class. When we want to use the common variable value throughout the program, in that case we can use the static data variables. And what is the static member function? At the time of declaring function, if we use the static keyword, then it is a static member function and it is used to access the static data member of the class. And next is a friend function. So friend function, we can define that friend function inside the class also and outside the class, but it is not a member function. So at the time of declaring friend function at outside the class, we don't need to write the class name and the scope resolution operator. Okay, and by using the friend at the time of calling friend function, there is no need to write the object name and dot operator. We can just call like a other function. Now arrays of objects and object as a function argument. So first, what is array? We know that array is the collection of same data type having the same name and different variable. So what is the array of object means? At the time of creating objects, if we want to create multiple objects of the same class, we can create array of that objects. Array of object means nothing but the collection of objects having same name. Okay, the array of variable of class data type is called array of objects. See here, the array of variables of a class data type. So what is the variable of class data type means? Object. Okay, variable of class data type is a object. So array of object means the collection of objects of the same class as store group of object together. See here the syntax how to declare array of objects. Just like a other array, in that case we require the data type, array name and the index, or we can call it as a size. In the case of array of object, we have to write the class name, that is nothing but the data type, array name, that is the object name, and size. See here example, if class is student and we want to define that there are 100 students in the class. First see here why we need to create array of objects. Suppose we declared here class student and it has the data members like a roll number, name. Okay, and we have two member functions to get the data from the student and to display the data. So if we use this class for the 2 to 3 students, then we can just create the 2 or 3 objects. But suppose if you want to get the data and display the data of the 100 of students, then in that case we have to or we cannot declare that much object of the same class. In this case we can use the array of objects. So see here, class is the student, roll number and name both are the data member of the class student. Now here both are the by default private. In public access modifier. See here the get data and put data. These two are the data members, member function of the class student. Get data is used to get the data from the student, and put data is used to display the information taken from the student. Now see here, student S is a single object. So S is a object of class student. It is a single object. Again we can write S1, S2, S3, like we can declare the, or we can create the object. But if you want to create 100 or 1000 of objects, in that case we need to use the array of object. So see here, student is a class name, S is a object or array name, and 100 is a size. Now by using this line we can create 100 object of the class student. So this is the array of student. Okay. Next, the array of objects are stored in memory as same as how multidimensional array are stored. The space is required only for the data item of the class. So at the time of creating the objects, the memory is allocated to the that particular object. But when we create object, the space is only required for the data variables, not for the member function. Only we have to store data only. Okay, there is no space allocated for the member functions. The array of student is represented in figure. See here in this figure, student 1, it has the two member functions like roll number and name. So these two memory spaces allocated for the student 1 object. Next is the second object, roll number, name. Third object, like that 100 student object require the two memory locations for the roll number and storing the roll number and name. We have discussed how single object access the data items on member function. In the same way, using array of objects we can access member of a class using dot. Means if we use the array of objects, we need to use dot operator to access the data members member function of the class. So see here, student of I dot get data, means I is representing the place or location of that student. Or see here, we can input the ith element data of student array. Suppose we required data from the 5th student, so here we can write student of here 5 dot get data, means it will get the data from the 5th student. See here, put data, we can display the ith element of the student array. Suppose if you want to display the information of 15th student, so here we have to write the student of 15 dot put data. So this is the figure of storage for data items in the array of objects. Here there are 100 objects. Okay, and roll number require 4 byte because it is integer. Character required the 20 bytes. So each and every object required 20 plus 4, that is a 24 bytes, and 24 bytes into 100 because memory is allocated for the 100 objects. Now we will see the program for array of object. We can continue the previous example. Include here header file is included. Class student, integer roll number, character name, public. These are the two data members, and now these are two member functions, void get data and void put data. Now here we are going to define the member function outside the class. So here void student is a class name, scope resolution operator, get data, in bracket enter roll number. By using the cin we can get the roll number from the user or student. Cout enter name, here we are taking name from the user. This is the function definition of get data, and which is defined outside the class. Here in in this class declaration also we can define the same function. Here put data function is defined here. It is displaying the roll number and name of the student. Now see here, integer main, integer I. So it is used to I is used for the counting the objects in the for loop. Now student s of 3. Now what? It is a array of object, that is a s3. Here 3 objects are created of the class student. Now for I is equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. Why? Because we are creating the 3 objects. Now see out I plus 1 means here we are writing the first student information, second student information. So here we are writing the number. Now see here, s of I dot get data. To access this member function get data, we require dot operator here and again index, because it is a array of objects. So s of I dot get data. Now it is used to get the information from the student. Now this for loop is to display the output, that is s of I dot put data. It will display the first student information, after that second and third. It will display the 3 student information, because for loop contains the value from 0 to 2, 0, 1, 2, not 3, and return 0. See here the output, one student info. Here is one student info. In the get data, now control flow transfer to the get data, enter roll number. So here enter roll 1, now enter name ABC. Like same 2 student information, that is second student information, enter roll number 2, enter name, that is a XYZ. Third student information, roll number is 3, entered by the student, and enter name PQR. It is the output of the get data function. And now it is a put data function, that is a roll number 1 name ABC, roll number 2 name XYZ, roll number 3 name PQR. This is the program for array of object. You can write this program, also you can execute this program to get the output. Now we will see the another program to find maximum of 2 numbers. See here, this is the simple program. Here header file is included, class number, integer a and b, integer find max. Now find max is a private member function of the class number. Public void init initialization, that is a, here we are passing the 2 variables or 2 arguments having integer data type. And next is a void display max. This function is used to display the maximum of the 2 numbers. Now we are declaring. Now we have declared these 3 functions. Now we are going to define these 3 functions. So first void number, scope resolution operator, initialization x and integer x and integer y. Now the value of x is assigned to the integer a and value of y is assigned to the b, because we are passing numbers from the here. This is the argument passing. Now integer number find max. So how to get the maximum number? So for that we require the if control structure. If a is greater than b, return a. Means suppose here a is greater, and if this condition is true, this function will return the value of a. It is not, sorry, this function is not void, it has the data type integer, so it is returning some value. If a is greater, it will return the value of a. If this condition is false, means b is greater, then it will return the value of b. Now void number, here we are declaring the number, sorry, declaring the display function, display max function. So here 2 numbers are, here we are writing the numbers a and b. Now maximum number is here. Find max is function called into the another member function. So it is a nesting of member function. See here, this find function is called by the member function. Why? Because it is a private function. We cannot directly call this function by using the object. Why? Because it is a private. So this private member function can be called by using only member functions of that class. So here find max is function called. Now program flow is goes here. It will check the which number is greater and it will return the value here. Now integer main number n. Here number is a class, n is a object of class. Now n dot initialization. Here see the init function n dot initialization. Here we are passing the value 10 and 20. Now this 10 is assigned to the A and 20 is assigned to the B. Now n dot display function, display max function is called. Now program flow goes here. Two numbers are. Now it will display the two numbers are. A value of A is 10, B value of B is 20, and now maximum number is. It will again call the find max function. Now your program flow goes here. It will check 10 is greater than 20. So 10 is greater than 20. Is it true? No, it is false. So it will return the value 20. Means what? This find max function return value of B, that is a 20. So here it will return the value 20. Okay. Now see the output. Two numbers are 10 and 20 and maximum number is 20. This is the program to find maximum of two numbers. Now see here, we can see the another program, that is a program to declare class account having data members, principal, rate of interest, number of years, accept this data for one object and find out simple interest. So here is a program to we have to declare the class account, then we have to declare the data members, three data members, that is the principal, rate of interest and number of years. After that we have to declare two functions, two member functions for the taking the data from the user and displaying the data. So here class account, so account is a class name, private members are integer, that is a principal, P principal, and it is a number of years, and R is a rate of interest. Now float SI. So we have to calculate the simple interest. So we have taking here float SI. Now public void get data. This function is used to get the data from the user. So see out, enter principal, rate of interest and number. So here we are taking the input C in principal, rate of interest and number of years. Now calculate function. Okay, all these functions are defined into the class, so there is no need of writing the scope resolution operator. Void calculate, how to calculate the simple interest, that is simple interest equal to multiplication of principal, rate of interest and number of years divided by 100. Now SI contain the simple interest. Now void display simple interest equal to value of SI. These are the three. Here class declaration is complete. Now integer may, here we are creating the object of a class account. So account A dot get data. What will happen after calling the get data? It will take the input from the user for the principal, rate of interest and a number of years. Now A dot calculate. So these all are the member functions. So we can call them by using the object and dot operator. So A dot calculate. Now it will calculate the simple interest. A dot display means it will display the simple interest. Now see our output principal, enter principal, rate of interest and number of years. So here principal is 5,000, rate of interest is 5% and number of year is 1. And after calculating the simple interest, that is 5,000 into 5 into 1 divided by 100, we will get the simple interest 250 rupees. So this is the program to declare account class and calculating the simple interest. So writing program by using the classes and object, it is very important, because in your MSBT final theory exam, there are number of questions which is depending on the, or which is focuses on the writing programs, not on the writing theory like definition and syntax and etc. In your MSBT exam, they will ask number of programs. So this is the one sample of a program. They can give you any type of program. So if you clearly understand the concept of classes and object, you can create the class. It is very simple process. Just they given the class name into their question itself, that is the account. So we have to create the class account. Also they are providing us data members. Okay, so we are going to declare the data members. For the calculating, we required one function. To get the information from the user, we need another function, and for the displaying the result, we required the, so here in this program we required the 3 data members. And just by you creating the object in the main function, we can call the all these 3 member functions and get the result. So try to create your own problem definitions or problem statement, and try to write the different programs by using the classes and object. Now we will see the object as function argument. So you know that when we write function, we can write the function with argument and without argument also. Okay, we can pass the argument from the function if we need. So in the function we can pass object as a argument. So just like in the previous take this example, in this example, here we are passing the integer x and integer y as a argument of that function. These are the variables. Like that we can pass here object of the class. Then it is known as a object as function argument. In C++ we can pass object as a function argument and also return an object from the function. The objects of a class can be passed as an argument to member functions as well as non-member functions also. Okay, means if you want to pass the object as an argument, we can pass it to the member function also and non-member functions also. Okay, an object can be passed to a function as an argument in the same way as the variables of any other data type. Means just like in the previous example we have passed the integer x and integer y. Like that we can pass the object of a class like as a function argument. In this process, a copy of an object is passed to a function. If any change is made to the given object inside the function, it will not be reflected in the actual object. This process is similar to the concept of pass by value. Means when we are passing object as a function argument, it will create the copy of that object, and if any changes happen on that object, it will not affect on the actual object. Why? Because it will change the value of the copied object. Another way of passing an object is to pass the starting address of the object to a function. This is nothing but the pass by reference. If any change is made to the object inside the function, it will be reflected in the actual object. This process is similar to the concept of pass by reference. So what is the difference between pass by value and pass by reference? In pass by value, we are passing the copy of that object, and if we made any changes in the copied object, it will not affect on the actual object. But at the time of passing object by reference, in that case, if we made changes on the object, it will affect the actual object. So here two different ways to pass the object as a argument. Passing object to the function. Object may be passed to a function just like any other variables. Arguments can be passed to a function in the following two ways. First is a call by value, that is in which copy of the object is passed to the function, and call by reference, in which an address of the object is passed to the function. In the first case, call by value, if we made any changes on the object, it will not affect on the actual object, but in the call by reference, if we change in the object or passed object, it will affect on the actual object. Objects are passed through the call by value mechanism by default. In this method, value of the variable will be passed to the function as an argument or parameter. So by default mechanism is a object passed by the value. So call by value is the default mechanism. Now returning object from the function. A function may return an object to the calling function. It works similar to the normal integer or float variable. For such function, return type will be name of a class. Now see here, program of object as function argument which adds two complex numbers. Program of object as a function argument which adds two complex number. So see here, IOStream and Conio header files are included, and now class complex. So class name is a complex, integer, real and imaginary. So these are the two data members of the class complex, that is a real number and imaginary number. Now public void get number, here passing the argument integer a and integer b. So when user pass the value for a and b, it will assign to the real and imaginary. So real is equal to a and imaginary equal to b. Now void display number. So how to display the complex number? First we will display the real number and then imaginary number. Now see here how to add two complex numbers. So complex add number is a function. Okay, and here we are passing the object of the class complex, that is the complex C2. Now complex C3, this is the third object. If we want to add the data members of the object, we have to write object dot that data member. So if we want to access the data members of the class, we need to write object name and dot operator. So complex C3, here we are store the addition of that two complex number. So C3 dot real. Now this real is the variable of object C3 equal to real plus C2 dot real. Now this real is a first object data member, C2 dot real is a second data member of the object. Now C3 dot imaginary equal to imaginary plus C2 dot imaginary, and now it is a returning the object return C3, and it here end of the class. Now void main C1, C2 and C3, these are the three objects. Now C1 dot get number, here we are passing the number 10 and 20, and C2 dot get number, that is 30 and 40. Now C equal to C1 dot add number and passing the C2. Now see here C3 real dot C3 dot real equal to real, that is a 10 plus C2 dot real is a what? C2 dot real is a 30. Now 10 plus 30 is 40, and in the case of imaginary number equal to here 20 plus C2 imaginary number is 40, so 60. So addition of C3 dot display, we are passing the that 30 plus 10 is 40 real number, and 40 and 20 imaginary number are that the 60. This is the program to add the two complex number. In the complex number we have to add first real number and then imaginary number. So in this function, first we are add the two real numbers of the C1 object and C2 object, and second we added here imaginary number of C1 object and imaginary number of C2 object, and these store into the third object. So this is nothing but the passing object as a function argument and returning the object. So in this session we have studied array of object and object as a function argument. In the next session we will see the constructor. Assignment question for this session is what is the array of object? Explain with example. I will repeat. What is array of object? Explain with example.